everybody, Miss Veronica here from the Poughkeepsie Public Library District. I'm here today to do a little jelly bean STEM engineering program that we had planned to do at the library, but we're going to be doing it from home today. And this program is pretty easy when it comes to materials. All you need are some toothpicks and some jelly beans. Now, there are a couple different types of jelly beans out there. I don't know if you have any left over from Easter. These are the kinds I like, Starburst jelly beans. And I want to show you the difference, though, in the size of these other ones. Starburst jelly beans are going to be a little too small for this type of program. You're going to want more like a classic, like jelly bird egg type jelly beans for this. But the Starburst jelly beans are pretty good to eat and snack on if you have them. But we're not going to be using those today. We're going to be using the bigger jelly beans. When it comes to the toothpicks, there are some with rounder ends. There are some with pointier ends. The ones I'm using today are pointier, and we're going to talk about when we start making them some of the safety things you should keep in mind when you're making them. But let's get started with some of our shapes. I'm going to move my camera down here. We're going to move the plate there. And we're going to start off by making some two-dimensional shapes. And that's a square and a triangle. So here's our triangle, here's our square. So let's start off by making our 2D triangle. So you're going to need some popsicle sticks. Toothpicks. I keep calling them popsicle sticks. You're going to need some toothpicks and some jelly beans. And this is what I want to warn you about. Sometimes the shell of the jelly bean can be a little hard. And sometimes if you don't hold it down and force it in there the first time well enough, it could sometimes slip. So be really careful with these pointier toothpicks. If you have rounder end toothpicks, it might just be a little harder to push in the jelly bean. And if you need help from a grown-up, they could probably help you do this part as well. So we're going to be making our triangle, which has 3 sides. So we'll put our jelly beans in the end here. And the hardest part I find with these is the sort of last edge, if you will, where you have to put a jelly bean in the end of a toothpick and the other one there. And you kind of have to push them together so it fits. So there's our triangle, our 3 sides, 1, 2, 3, and our 3 jelly beans at the end. So now that you've seen me do this, let's try making a square. So we've got 4 sides, 4 jelly beans. So I'm going to make it at the same time you do, and let's see if we can make it. So I've got my 4 jelly beans. I like using, sometimes I just pick the jelly bean. It's nice though when you're doing this, if you're pointing out the different sides, to use different colored jelly beans, but you can't always do that, and that's okay. So we're going to make our square. And, ooh, that one's a little harder. Popsicle stick, toothpick in there. I keep calling it a popsicle stick. There we go in here. Ooh, these ones are a little harder today. There we go. And now we're going to close up our square. And like this. Perfect. So here's our square. We've got our 4 sides. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we've got our 4 jelly beans. 1, 2, 3, 4. So these are our two-dimensional shapes. They're flat on either side, right? Even though it's 3D in the fact that it kind of pops off the plate a little, it's flat. So we're going to try and make these shapes 3-dimensional or 3D. And let's start with our triangle, and we can add some popsicle sticks and another jelly bean. Popsicle sticks. I keep calling them popsicle sticks. Toothpicks. Toothpicks in our jelly bean. And make this a 3-dimensional shape. So as you can see, I'm putting in the toothpicks like this, and I'm trying to have them sort of meet in the middle here. And this is another thing that can be a little difficult when you have a whole bunch of toothpicks meeting in the middle is getting that jelly bean on. So I kind of stick them in just a little bit. And then when they're all in there, whoop, press it down. So now, with just another 1, 2, 3 toothpicks and one more jelly bean, we've turned our triangle into a 3-dimensional shape. So 3-dimensional shapes have things called planes and vertices. And the plane is the flat part here. That flat part we were talking about before. Our plane is our flat part here. And the vertex, or the plural is the vertices, are where the sides of that plane intersect. So the vertex is our jelly bean here. So let's count how many planes and how many vertices on this shape. We have 1, 2, 3, don't forget the bottom, 4 planes. And let's see how many we have. 1, 2, 3, 4 vertices. So that's our first shape that we've made there. Our next one, we're going to go back to our square. And we're going to turn our square into a cube. And that's what our cube looks like. Square and our cube. So the best way to do this is basically to build another square on top of this one. So I'm going to put toothpicks out of each of these jelly beans, pointing up. And I'm going to show you, if you can see the orange one starting to crack a little bit. That's okay. That's totally okay if your jelly beans are starting to crack a little bit. The great part about it is that even though the shell may crack, the jelly part inside keeps your toothpick in place for the most part. So now that we've put a toothpick on every one of those, we're going to put a jelly bean on each one of those toothpicks. And now, I do have, there's my black jelly bean. Now we're going to join these all together with some more toothpicks. And like I said, you may have to even these out because one toothpick may be a little further down in one jelly bean. That's okay. The good thing about these jelly beans is that they're pretty forgiving. Okay. Perfect. Got one more. Ooh, it's a little harder. There we go. One more toothpick to put in. And there we go. We've got our cube. So let's count how many planes and vertices are on our cube. Let's start like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're back to where we started. So we have 4 on the sides, and don't forget 5 on the top and 6 on the bottom. So 6 planes. Let's count how many vertices. Remember, those are our jelly beans. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we have a cube here with 6 planes and 8 vertices. Now, does this shape remind you of anything? It's definitely like a box, but if you've been home and playing a lot of board games like I have, this is the shape of a dice. So what you play with a board game also has those 6 sides on it. So that's our cube. Let's make one more new shape, and we're going to take, we're going to take our square, oh, there we go, and instead of making a cube, we're going to make it like that first shape, that kind of pyramid shape. And we're going to take 4 more toothpicks and point them in the center like we did that first one. So, there we go. Point them in the center. Point them in the center. There we go. Now, like I said, this can be a difficult one. So you just go little by little around. I start putting them in until I get all the toothpicks in, and then I kind of firm down the jelly bean like that. So now we've got a pyramid with our square base, and let's count how many planes and vertices these have. So let's start with the triangles. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, our square base at the bottom. So our pyramid has 5 planes, and how many vertices? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. So that's our little pyramid shape. Do you know of anything that's in a pyramid shape? I'm sure there are lots of things. The thing I'm thinking of is the Great Pyramids in Egypt have this kind of shape with that square bottom and that pyramid. All right, before we go, I just want to show you how you can sort of expand upon this is you can build bigger structures. We just started with some small basic structures here, but you can make some bigger ones. And I'm going to show you how to do that by just attaching 2 of our cubes. So I have the cube I made before we started. I have the cube you and I made together. And we're going to push toothpicks in to the edge of these jelly beans in one cube. And now we're going to attach them, and I'm actually going to move my plate for this part. Attach them to the jelly beans in this cube. And like I said, this can be a little difficult when you have multiple jelly beans and multiple cubes. Let's turn it around this way. And one last one. There we go. There we go. So now we've got a bigger structure. And you can stand it upright. Let me put this on bigger. And of course, this is just for demonstration here. If you really wanted to balance something like this, you can see it's a little wobbly. I'd have to move it down like this. But now you have the sort of basic building structure to make larger things. And if you want to give yourself a challenge, you can always see if you can make your structures weight-bearing, which means can they carry anything heavy or carry a weight. So you can always build something and see if a book can sit on it without breaking. Let's see if we can do it with another book. There we go. These are 2 pretty thick books that seem to be sitting pretty well there. So this is something you could do at home to expand upon what we've done in the little bit of time we've had together here today. And so if you have those jelly beans and you have popsicle sticks, if you have toothpicks, popsicle sticks, you probably get really big structures. If you have those toothpicks, you can build some of these structures and create when you have some time to spare at home. So thank you for joining me today. Please check out some of our other videos that we have on our YouTube page and our Facebook page, and we'll see you again soon. Bye, everybody.